What in the 20s is going
in the
on?
20s?
Think about
Yeah.
the 20s.
What
Baby,
plenty, plenty.
What in the 20s is
I
going
am
on?
here for my 20s, baby.
This is the 20s.
Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Zamam Kize, and this is What's in the 20s, a podcast where you listen to me grow through its baby. On today's episode, oh, it's so delicious. I'm so excited. Okay, calm down. My bad.
No, we love the energy.
Intrusive
Don't
thoughts.
be calm. Don't be calm.
I have got with me podcaster, YouTuber, digital content creator, presenter. It just goes on and on. Gugulethu Nyatsumba, everybody.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Are you all? Are you good?
Sorry, I always think about it. I don't want to lie.
Okay, fair enough.
No, you know what? Today's a decent day.
Alright.
I'm all right.
Okay.
Yeah, not too much to complain about.
Yeah.
Yourself?
I'm good. I'm recovering from the flu.
Okay.
And yeah.
Also, you had that flu.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention it
Oh,
too
sorry.
soon. But I had the flu, yeah.
Okay.
Recovering,
Okay.
feel better. I feel like I'm back in my energy, back in my spirit.
That's
so that
good.
feels amazing. You know, I'm thinking about how the first time I was like exposed to you was back in 2020, right? Like on YouTube type of situation. And that time I didn't even have social media yet, like nothing. I had no idea I was even going to start a podcast. Like I had no plans, you know. And it's so insane sitting here with you right now because I'm thinking like, you know, the idea of like God's always working behind the scenes, like you don't even know
Absolutely.
what's coming years later type of situation.
Yeah.
And, like just walking up here, coming into the studio, I was just pondering on that, like, oh my word, like I'm gonna be having you in the studio and I'm just so
Yeah.
grateful. I'm so happy. Like your content is so inspiring, so uplifting. And I think
Thank you.
it just shows also like in the way that when we met each other, it just felt so like that energy thing we speak about, right?
Yes.
Where it's like, the vibe, where it just kind of flows and stuff. And it's so comforting, honestly, genuinely, to meet someone and feel so safe and all the rest. And so, thank you for all that you
Of
do.
course.
Appreciate your
Mama.
contribution.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. And
Oh.
congratulations on the platform you've built. And congratulations for also being bold with your story and your voice. It's not easy, but
Man.
you really are voicing. You're a voice for so many people who are trying to figure it out. And you do it so gracefully. So shout out to you.
You know what I'm thinking about right now? We had a Spotify event last year. I think it was the To My Sister's podcast. I was here and stuff.
Yes.
And this was like right after my mom's funeral type
Yes.
of situation. I remember coming up to you just to greet you and you looked at me on some, are you okay? Yeah. And I was just like,
You know when you don't know how that means? You're like,
are you good?
yes, yeah.
And I was just like, no, are you good? And you were just like, I could be better. And I think we both were just kind of like, life, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? What is it?
Yeah.
And I think that's also kind of what I want to speak to essentially today, right? Is the topic is committing to your season. How it all came about really was I feel like, you know, when you start the year, you have all these goals, these plans, it's feeling like this energy, this wave of I know what I want for myself type of a situation. And then somewhere in the middle of things, you feel lost, confused,
Yes.
stuck, feeling like, what am I doing all of this for? Where am I going? That's kind of basically how I've been feeling lately. Like,
Yeah.
what is going on?
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, even when people speak about the fact that we're 6 months into the year,
That's crazy.
like, what do I actually have to show for
What
it?
do I have?
you ever-
I have nothing personally, and I mean that with my chest. I actually have nothing to show for it right now. Like it's stressful.
It's so insane to think about because you
Yes.
come into the year with so much hope, right? With so
Yeah.
much desire, right? And also this feeling that like God has placed this vision onto you and this is like your season of breakthrough, right? For some reason, I'm trying to escape this season because I'm like, it's clearly not this one right here. You know, it's the breakthrough is possibly in the next one, but like there's something that like needs to uncover from me here or whatever that like, you know, but whatever it is, I'm trying to get out of it. Like I'm trying to wrap it up, you know,
Yeah.
so that like things can start making sense again, start feeling, you know, you've been very vocal. You've been very vocal
Yeah.
about the fact that a lot is changing for you.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you speak about your earlier 20s and where you're at now and stuff like that. I want to go to like the beginning, right? Where you kind of realize that like, I don't want my life to be like this anymore, you know, in terms of even thinking like, I don't want to be in school anymore. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be in this relationship. I don't want, you know, like just realizing that like there's something uncomfortable here and a change needs to happen. Can you talk me through like what that moment feels like?
Yeah. I love the way you asked me that, because even as you're speaking, it made me realize that I've clearly had that moment many times in my life.
Yeah, in so many different ways.
In
yeah.
so many different ways. And I think you're right. For the most part, the thing that stands out to me the most is that I look at my life and I decide that that's not what I want for myself anymore. That's the biggest thing. So even when I think about school, I was like, I don't want to feel the way that I've been feeling, and I don't want to struggle like this anymore.
Yeah.
I must have a passion that's outside of this. There must be something else that I could potentially be good at. Was that relationships? Babe, romantic relationships. Specifically, it's that I don't think I deserve this. One, I deserve better. I'm uncomfortable. I don't feel safe. That's a very big thing for me, safety. If I don't feel safe in your spaces, your space, immediately it's a no.
Yeah.
Friendship circles, I think that one's been really interesting, because now more than ever, the thing that has encouraged the change is the fact that I'm aware that when I'm in those spaces, it reflects a lot of who I used to be. And there isn't space for who I am now. Oh, you know what? Let me not say that. Even if there is space for who I am now doesn't fit into that space.
Wow.
So yeah, I think more than anything.
Sorry, may I
No,
ask
all good.
about that? So what is it like? You'll hang out with these like certain friends and stuff, and you can just feel like you're not. It's not fulfilling you anymore. Is that like what happens?
Yeah, maybe. I think it's a multitude of things. I think it's been the safety aspect. Like I take that incredibly seriously in friendships. I often say to my friends that I want them to feel as though their names are safe in my mouth. Always. That's a huge thing for me. So outside of the things that you tell me, it's the way I speak of you in your absence. It's the way I represent you in your absence and so forth. So that's important to me. And I think it's the natural journey of life in that we have different interests.
Yeah,
And I think the more you grow in God, the more you start to lose interest in certain things and not wanting to be in certain spaces. And there's nothing wrong with those that are still wanting to do that. But it just doesn't feel good for me. I definitely suffer from like post-groove depression.
Oh, speak about it. Speak about it. Speak about it.
Yeah, me personally, it's like I'll be having a good time in the moment, but I'm paying for it the next day.
The consequences
are crazy. So crazy.
Yeah.
Because on top of the fact that I'm hanging, I'm already like my body's in a down place.
Yeah.
I don't have the spirit to lift myself out of that. So then my thoughts are coming against me. Why was I there? Why was I doing this?
The anxiety of replaying everything.
Everything. Like that's what you want?
The conversations, the people you met, what you did, what you said.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Was I cool enough? Was I funny enough? Was I this and that?
I'm like, Gugulethu, this is not something you should be doing to yourself. And granted, I think there are other nights where I have been able to enjoy myself. And more than anything, now I've come to realize that me enjoying myself has a lot to do with the environment and the people I'm with. So if I have a night where I'm like, hyper focused on like, what did I say? What did I do? It means that I didn't feel safe in the space. And I drank my gut telling me that. And I just kind of push forward. And then the next day, everything kind of comes back to me. I'm like, oh, wait.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason you were feeling off. Like there was something that you missed. So yeah, I think in the realm of friendship, it's just many things. Like my interests have changed. I've changed fundamentally. People also become accustomed to a version of yourself that they knew and a version of yourself that worked for them for whatever that looks like. And when you outgrow that, some people aren't welcoming of the change.
Sure. And does that just mean we gotta separate?
I don't know. I think it's up to you. Okay. Honestly, I think it's about whether or not you think that a conversation is worthwhile having, if you think they're going to receive you well, or if you kind of just know that, you know what, this person is unable to let go of this version of myself and I have to do what's best for me. So therefore, I'm going to take myself out of the equation. Yeah.
You know, this thing of like realizing there's like different you want for yourself or more, more that you want for yourself. I think it can be so isolating, right? Like being presented with this conviction that like, I need to go a different direction and it pulls you apart. So like even, you know, going back to speaking about school, right? Leaving school pulls you apart from like your peers and stuff who are still in it and graduating and all the rest. Removing yourself from certain like friendships or circles or spaces and stuff like that. I feel like sometimes you're like realizing that like there's this path I'm about to journey on. It separates you.
Yes.
And yeah, I want to speak about that kind of discomforts too. Kind of feeling a lot, I don't know if the word is lonely, but just a lot more alone in the beginning of this journey of realizing a change needs to happen.
I think I've kind of dubbed myself the outlier in life, and I think I see it like it's a pattern. Like I'm about something and then I'm not. And when I have a conviction, I can't ignore the conviction. That's another thing, right?
Sure.
Because it is taking away at me, it's taking away at my peace. And as soon as I'm not at peace, that for me is the biggest flag where I'm like, no, I can't keep doing this. No matter
Yeah,
how
I don't
much I
wanna be-
want to, and no matter how used to it I am, I do have to protect my peace. And at first, I think it's cool, right? Because you have a conviction
Yeah.
and you're excited about that. You're
Yeah.
like, okay, cool. The Lord is taking me down a different path. Oh, wait, there's a word that's been spoken over me. Cool, you're excited. Then you start living it. Then it's like, oh no.
Oh,
Oh,
my.
no.
Oh my. There's, a point in that I want to speak about, being presented with the vision and the blessing that you're meant to receive,
Yes.
but not being able to inhabit that yet.
Yes.
So like the gap between where you are now and where
where
you're
you're
trying
going.
to be, it is
Mm-hmm.
frustrating.
Incredibly.
It is so frustrating because you feel like, why was I presented this dream?
Yeah,
why was I
why?
No,
why? Like,
why is this thing I'm embarking? Like, why?
Yes, for what?
And why am I being met with challenges, obstacles? Why is it so difficult? It doesn't feel like
Yes.
just because you were given that conviction, it doesn't feel like, okay, cool, there you go.
Absolutely.
Now, here's the
Now
path
go
clear.
flourish. No, definitely not. And if anything, I think it makes me realize that there's a big difference in who you are and who you're going to be. And that's why that gap is so uncomfortable, because I honestly feel like there are things that God has only been able to work on me in a season of isolation. I had to let go of the distractions. I had to let go of the friendships. I had to let go of, I don't know, just going out and looking past my problems. I had to sit in the silence of them for them to be able to be brought to the surface, and then him being able to work me through those things. So yeah, you're excited and then you're not, right? And then it's on top of the fact that your flesh will want the things that you used to do because it feels more comfortable. It's the
sure.
fact that, oh, I used to be out with everyone, like,
You're constantly
maybe.
at war with
You're
yourself.
you're constantly at war. And I think that's something we don't speak about.
Yeah.
Like, we speak about choosing that other path, but we don't speak about how hard that path is and how you may even relapse, to be quite honest, right? Like, there'll be moments where you're like, you know what, this is so uncomfortable to me right now. And I feel like I'm going crazy. I might as well revert to what it is that I used to know, just for you to do that very thing, to realize, actually...
And you end up right back at the same spot of realizing you don't want to be here.
Yes.
Like, it just keeps
You get
coming-
there
where you're
so
I hate-
quickly.
You're like, even faster, right? It's
Yes, you
like,
get
why
there
did I
even
do
faster.
that?
Why did I do that?
Why did I
Yes.
decide to go out here again when I know this is how I feel when I go out here again?
Right?
Why did I? Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think obviously it's about having a lot of grace for yourself when you are in that cycle. But sooner than later, I don't know. I think the peace that I feel in the route that I would have taken starts to bring me joy. And that's when I'm like, okay, cool. And more so, or moreover, the version of myself that starts to exist is what I find comfort in. Because then I realize that, okay, cool, had I stayed in that space, this characteristic of mine or this trait of mine wouldn't have developed.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be able to be a counsel to myself, a counsel to my family, or whatever it is that God was doing in me during that season. Yeah.
Sure. I remember like a few years before just before I started just being on social media and being online, being presented with this conviction, this vision that like, okay, now it's time for you to like share your voice. I cried in my room like for a very long time because like I was realizing that like God was pulling me to a space where I feel uncomfortable, which is being in the public eye constantly, being perceived constantly, being open to be critiqued and like, just waiting for that validation type of situation. I just kind of felt like, why am I being like called into this, certain spaces? And it's like, how do I commit? Because there's so many times where I feel like I just want to delete everything. Like
Zama, please speak on it. Please speak on it.
I just want to wrap everything up and like I can't, like it's so much. And for some reason I have to be committed to it because I know there's a bigger purpose in all of it, right? Like there's a bigger impact or intention with all of this that we're doing, But sometimes the routes that we have to take to it can feel so, and that's what I mean. Like it doesn't feel like, oh, go fly, go
No,
flourish.
it doesn't.
Constant war
Go
with
crawl,
yourself.
go cry, go surrender, go vomit, go purge. Go reassess, go pray, go fast, go silent, go mute, go crazy, go insane. Like that's more of what the journey truly is. And even on that point of like wanting to delete everything, it's not funny because one mistake
If you just push me a
What?
little,
Push
I
me
just might.
on the wrong day. I'm telling you right now,
This user
boy,
doesn't
exist anymore. I promise you. Like I often say to my friends, if it wasn't for the fact that I work on social media, like if I had a 9 to 5,
Yeah.
I kid you not, Zama, I would not have social media.
It would never see you.
It would wrap it up, wrap it up. Have my little community, my friends and family go to work, and that's it.
You literally, when you post on your stories, it's like a catch up of everything you've been
because-
doing the last couple of days. And I'm just like, oh, we're not watching this in real time.
No.
We don't get to experience you in real time, huh?
No. And even I think for me, I've found that that's what works for me via social media. One, I don't want to see what people are doing every day. It distracts me from the things that I need to be doing.
Yes.
One. Two, it's the pressure that I used to feel of like, I'm here now, I have to show it now. Right?
Sure.
Like, okay, we're doing this thing. Like, let me show people FOMO. And I was like, it's taking away from me being present. Yes, I still want to share moments. But what I found is that like, when I want to log on, I log on. I watch stories, I interact, I post my stories, and then guess what? I'm outie again.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Forget about me.
See you guys when I'm
I'll
ready
come back.
again.
Yeah, I need to recharge. And there's that thing, right? Self-regulation also. Like learning how to pour back into you so that you can do the job
that you do. And I think that's what people don't understand, right? Especially when so much of what you do is your personal story, your personal convictions, your struggle. It takes a lot. It takes a lot for Zama, guys, to sit here behind this microphone and to share. It's not just her arriving and doing so. There's work that's done before. There is the mental preparation. It is the courage, the bravery that you need, right? So even small things like that, I think sometimes, honestly, Instagram feels overwhelming because I'm like, it's another place where I'm being perceived.
Yes.
Right? It's another place where you're watching me and you're watching my story, you're watching me. And I'm just like, I don't want that. I don't want that.
Leave me
out.
I'm begging.
Yeah.
Speak to me about, I'm going to call it the trade-off, right? So you've spoken briefly about, just excluding yourself from certain spaces and friendships and relationships and all the rest. And I think like when you enter this season of like wanting more for yourself, there's something you have to trade in so that you can get out, right? I know with me personally, it was like involving things like saying no to certain invites.
Yes.
It was involving things like saying no to being in certain spaces and stuff like that. Also, just in terms of protecting my peace, sometimes I just won't answer calls late enough because I feel like I need to
where
come
that
back
conversation is going.
There's just, I have to trade off my old habits. I have to trade off my old behaviors and all of that kind of stuff. And sometimes it's such a big trade-off. Like sometimes it's the people closest to you.
Yes.
It's the things that you're so used to doing. I mean, you were speaking about, even when you relapse, right? That trade-off feels so heavy to be like, what do you mean I can't do this anymore? Like, what do you mean I can't engage like this anymore? And yeah, I think I'm just kind of interested in like what some of those trade-offs for you have looked like and felt like and how you had the courage to commit to that.
I love that question because as of right now, the trade-off is my old life in its entirety. I think I had done the thing of like giving a bit away of myself or like certain things and be like, okay, cool, I can dabble with this or like I can't dabble with this. And I just realized that the problem was actually the way in which I used to live and the version of myself that I was holding on to. And in order to make space for the version of myself that I'm working towards, I have to create a clear path for her, a new world, a new environment, and new habits. So the trade-off for me has been everything that I've ever known.
What?
Everything I have,
Everything had to go.
Everything had to go. Everything had to go. I reassessed everything. Zama, I sat with a book. I said, cool, this is who I'm working towards wanting to be. This is how I know I'm going to get there. Who do I feel like encourages and believes in this vision? What are the things that I feel like take away from me being that person? So naturally it's spaces, it's saying no to invites. I even feel like I'm not invited to things anymore.
Now I'm just not included.
I'm just not included. And you know what?
Give me the opportunity to reject.
Right? But simultaneously, I think I get it.
Yes,
if you're
of
dealing with
course,
someone
of
who is
course.
going to keep saying no
Wow.
for your own peace, you're actually like, you know what, man? I'm not going to extend the invite to this person. And you just, it's not personal. I think you also have to realize that like people have their own feelings and they have to do things that protect their peace. Even though it may feel like it's against you and it's leaving you out, I think I always focus on the bigger picture. If I was going to say no, then it's okay. Then it's okay. So it's a saying no to invites. It's not being in certain spaces. And even the spaces thing, I've said this before, but it's not even a matter honestly, it's not a matter of the fact that I don't want to be in the space. Sometimes I may want to be in the space, but it doesn't serve me right now.
Oh,
I
sure.
may want to be there. I may
Oh,
want to I may want to do these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may want that, but I'm actively choosing against it because right now I can't afford to be in that space because of, I don't know, whatever it is. Be it me not feeling safe, be it me fearing that I'm not strong enough and I may slip into my old habits and old ways. So it's that.
Oh,
it's,
that discipline. Has to
the discipline is crazy. I think, and that's actually what it is. More than anything, I have to be disciplined in everything that I do. My coping mechanisms were crazy. I had to let that go. Drinking is cute, you know what I'm saying? But I was overdoing it at certain points in my life. And it wasn't like a matter of drinking because I enjoyed it. It's drinking because you want to escape, or drinking because I feel uncomfortable in a space. But I know if I have 3 shots of tequila, I'll feel easier with this company. Weed was a big thing for me.
Oh, yeah?
Problem.
Like every day?
Problem. Almost every day at some point. Escapism as well. Like, oh, this feels hot. Oh, I'm overwhelmed. Oh, I need to relax. Like, oh, I'm going to go see these people. It's going to ease the tension. So taking that away also made me realize and become more aware of the spaces that felt hard for me to be in. Because when you're on these things, right, it makes it easier. That's why you can show up. So yeah, all of that, like, not being active, you know, it's like, I want to be active. I need it for my mental health. My body needs it as well.
You know, so just listening to everything you're saying, it also, when you engage in like substances and in these environments, it also becomes a lot easier to make excuses for yourself and why you can't achieve certain things or why you're not where you're at.
Yes.
Because everyone around you also is just on that same mentality.
Yes.
And, you know, it's like you're being called somewhere else, but
Yes.
because you're still occupying these things or these people, it just feels like, you know what, this is life. Like,
This is what everyone's doing. Let me give you one more than that, Zama. It's the fact that you can be in that space, right, where everyone is doing that and other people are actually still thriving and doing the things they need to do. You think you can do all of that and do what you need to do? No, babe, we're different. That's the gag.
You're taking me back to, like, you know, you're in high school and you
Yes.
thought we all had this amount of time to like work through our work, but somebody is coming with like
someone has a
90s,
supernatural gift, studies for 20 minutes, grooves on the weekend, comes and aces everything. You're going to do that and you think you're going to get the same mark. That was a conviction for me, to be honest. Like, I can't say that I've ever, honestly, everyone I've ever surrounded myself with is extremely hardworking and driven.
That's amazing.
They're able to do that whilst doing other things. I'm not.
Oh, I so wish.
Oh, I so wish. So that was a revelation for me, in that, like, cool, people are thriving and succeeding, but in order for me to get where I need to go, unfortunately, this is not something I can entertain.
How do you let it go? You know? Because yes, I get the whole, we need to have the discipline and stuff, but like, yeah, what is it that, because that's what I struggle with sometimes, you know. I think even in friendships, I'm like, no, but we've been friends for so many years. Like, like, you know, I'm doing something wrong if I just decide, like,
to let it go,
you know. Certain kind of habits and stuff like that. Like, I just feel like, oh, but it's gotten me through so much, you know, like, I'm still fine, you know, type of a situation. Like, I can keep it up, but it's just like, yeah, how do you get to that place where you're actually at peace with letting things go and acceptance with like, we can end this?
I think I'm a woman at my core, in that, like, I'm going to keep going back until I get the ick. I'm going to keep going back until the disdain for that thing grows.
Valid.
So I don't want anyone to ever hear me and think that, like, it was a matter of me waking up and boom, bam, door closed. No.
It's
like,
not,
it's never
that's
that.
so real, yeah.
So even with, I'll talk about weed specifically, I had the conviction 2 years ago that, like, stop this thing. Stop it. Each time I smoke, each time I buy it, each time I engage, there'd always be something in me that's just like, stop
When
it.
did you actually stop?
End of last year. So this is what, 6 months clean.
Wow, come on, somebody.
Yeah, come on, somebody.
Won't he do?
Yeah. So it was a slow and gradual thing. Like, it was a matter of me being sober for a bit and relapsing, right? Same thing with friendships. You maybe have the epiphany that this is a friendship that needs to end, but I'm telling you, the first time you have that thought is not when you end the friendship. You're going to keep trying, right? You may even try harder to compensate for the things that are lacking or that you feel in the friendship. And then you get to a point where you realize, I've poured that much more of myself, but I'm still not getting what it is that I require in the space. What is the point? I've done things so much, and I make sure I'm gonna do it and do it and do it and do it until I realize I can't do this anymore. And also, I like to do things, end things well. And I don't know if like continuously doing something until you're fed up is doing it well or ending it well. But in my mind, I'm like, I would rather walk away from something knowing I tried my best, always. Knowing that maybe a conversation has been had, knowing that I've changed my approach to something, knowing that I've done it. Like I've gotten to the point where I say to my friends, like, in terms of like me drinking, I'd be like, there's nothing I haven't drank now.
Yeah. Oh, I know it all.
You know what I'm saying? Like I know it all.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I think the thing that always helps me is the Holy Spirit, because I can't do anything alone. And I think in those moments, it really does take me leaning on God more so than leaning on myself, because I will fail each and every time.
Yeah.
It is His supernatural power and presence that will get you through something, genuinely. And that gives me the strength to even say no sometimes, right? Because I'll be tempted. I'll be like, maybe a little bit.
Oh, this world and the worldly things.
Yes. So yeah, I think it's Him and seeking Him. And whenever I've had my eyes on me, I fail. But as soon as my eyes on the cross, everything for me honestly happens somehow, some way. Yeah.
Are you good at forgiving your younger self? You know, for perhaps, you know, enjoying smoking that much and drinking that much and stuff like that. Are you, you know, because that's something I, you know, sometimes when I think about the things I did in my past, I'm just like, why did
Do you know a cringe fest? That's
why
me.
did I allow that? Why did I allow this person to keep having access to me for so long? Why did I keep just saying yes to things I didn't want to? Why did I keep leaving myself compromised over and over? And it's like, you want to have grace because like that version of you did the best with what they had. Like, sure, but was it, you know, like,
Yeah, but really?
Really? Like, you know, she knew better, but decided I'm just having fun
Absolutely.
anyways. You know, I'm just whatever. And I think sometimes those are things that can keep us like in such a chokehold, you know? You know, you speak about like having to let that version of you go and stuff like that. And I just, do you have grace for that version of you? Because I mean, she also did a lot to survive those seasons, right? She did what she needed to get through that past. Yeah.
I do have grace for her, because without her I wouldn't be here. So that's the one thing I always remind myself of when I'm in bed and I want to pick her apart and be like, girl, I cannot believe that you did this, that. I remind myself that without her I wouldn't be here. And whatever it is that she did to survive is the reason that I'm here.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that I was able to survive, so much so that I'm now able to evolve and have healthier coping mechanisms and whatever the case may be. But moreover, Zama, I think I treat my younger self like I treat my younger sister. That's something I constantly remind myself of.
That's
so
beautiful.
The grace and the mercy and the patience that I have for my younger sister is how I'm trying to meet my younger self, because that's exactly the same relationship, same dynamic. And why is it that when it comes to someone else, when it's my sister, it's easy, but when it comes to me, I'm just like, no.
Yeah, what's up with that?
What is up with that?
Why? Why can't we treat ourselves like someone we love?
Yes.
You know, like, why aren't we someone we love?
Yeah.
Essentially,
Yeah.
Is there, I don't know, do we hold ourselves to a different standard? Do we expect different from us? Like, I think sometimes that's what I remember saying this to my therapist also. It's like, because she would be like, Summer, if somebody else was going through this experience, would you like, and I'd be like, no, but they're not.
But they're not me.
Exactly. Like,
Yes.
I don't expect them to get to what I see in my head for myself or whatever it is. Like, they have their own, you know, but then it's like, why do we do that? Like, why do we hold everyone to like a different standard expectation? Yeah. And why is ours always the hardest to meet?
I think maybe it is because we do hold ourselves to a different standard and a higher standard. I think when you have a conviction of where it is you're trying to go and you know what's on the line, you're going to be that much harder towards yourself, right? So that's the first thing. And then the second thing I'd also say is that, I don't know, do you know that phenomenon of like, the more you know about someone, right?
Yeah.
The more you can not say hold things against them, but like it may be easier to forgive a friend that's far away than it is to forgive a friend that's closest to you. It may be easy to be more understanding of someone further away from you than someone who's closer to you. And you're the closest person to yourself. You know everything about yourself. So I think when you have that much context and that much information, it's a lot easier for you to talk yourself out of forgiving yourself or whatever the case may be, right? Because you know, like, oh, Zama didn't do this because of A, B, C, D. And on any normal day, if you're speaking to anyone else, you'd be like, oh, you had a bad day. That's fine. That's life. But you are going to sit through that and be like, okay, you know that this is the vision. You know that you didn't do this. You didn't do this because of this, but you're always saying you want to do this as well. So what's the truth here? I think as people, we are very contradicting, even
Yeah.
like in ourselves and our
Yeah.
personal journeys, and we're privy to that. So because we're aware of it, it's going to be that much harder to just blindly support her. Her being the younger version of me, her being the girl that exists now, because you're aware of these other things.
Yeah.
But I have to remind myself that like I'm stuck with myself. I didn't choose this. Okay.
I'm stuck with myself. It's crazy.
I know, but I didn't choose this, right? So as much as I may know all the things that I know about myself, I still owe myself the same amount of grace that I'd give anyone else. That's
Sure.
it.
You know, just as you're speaking, I was thinking about like how I always say the people closest to us are often the hardest to love.
Yes.
And that will always be such a thing in my mind that I grapple with. Like, why is it that the people closest, like, if they make a mistake or whatever, it feels like, oh, so you hate me.
Yes.
You
you hate
you
me.
actually don't, like, I don't know, I'm very sensitive. I can,
Yes.
yeah, you know, if I just feel like something's a bit off, you know, I'm going to start thinking like, oh, is there a problem? Like, what's going on? Did I do something? Did I, you know, all of that kind of stuff. And it's just also if they, you know, react to things in a way that maybe I'm not like satisfied with or whatever, it feels like, oh, a conversation needs to be had, you know,
Yes.
and this and that. And it's just like, why do we hold the people that like genuinely care about us and are, you know, close to us with this like, I guess this expectation that they should not do wrong. They
Yes.
should not let us down.
Yeah.
Because they should know us better than anyone else,
Yes.
right? They've seen us go through all of these things. So why would they even put themselves in a position to hurt you know? And how do you even forgive? How do you forgive?
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's just my thing also. It's like learning that this grace we speak about, you know. A lot of people say like, yeah, we can forgive, but we must never forget and all of that. But I'm just like, have you?
That's my hill and that's my sin. I'll be so straight up with you right now.
You're always gonna remember it.
Forgiving, no problem. Forgetting, crazy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, crazy. Because there's something in my mind.
Yeah.
There's something in my mind that's like, if I forget, then I don't know how to properly protect myself from this happening again. And I have a very fight or flight, and I think there are parts of my inner child that did not feel protected. And I can feel that now because I'm so protective over myself, and I am protecting myself the way in which I wish someone would have protected her. So
Wow.
with that being the case, that's all good and standy. It's nice. But simultaneously, I found myself to be a lot more cutthroat, and maybe in times and in spaces that I didn't need to be cutthroat, right?
Oh.
So with the idea of the people closest to me hurting me, obviously I feel like I'm going to die because you hate me.
Yeah. Clearly.
And you're plotting on my ass. That's the craziest part.
Loud and clear.
Yeah, but I think I felt a lot more of that when I wasn't sure about the people that were around me. And now that I've been more intentional about the people that are around me, I am almost so sure to say that each mistake that has ever been done has been a pure mistake, because I don't doubt the fact that you love me. I don't doubt the fact that you have the best intentions for me. So yes, this mistake may be big and it's heavy, but for the most part, when I look at how much you support me, how much you love me, how seen I am by you, it's easy for me to believe that this is a mistake. I think the times in which I don't believe it's a mistake is when there was already an underlying thing of, I don't trust you.
I don't feel safe.
I don't feel safe around you. And that's why I've been so strict right now about who's around me and who I call a friend. I don't use that word lightly anymore.
Really?
No, I don't. I think it was cool when you're
Time
younger.
to play is over. It's just
It's done.
yeah.
Yeah, when you're younger, like everyone's your friend,
sure,
right?
yeah.
And even when you're calling everyone your friend, obviously people are your friend at different levels and you're relating differently.
Yeah,
But you're not really putting that out. You're just, you're my friend. And I've just come to realize, like, the Lord had 12 disciples and one of them still betrayed him at the end of the day,
At the end of the day, yeah.
So I think it's just important to feel safe in your space. And even if there's someone I feel safe with and they're plotting on my ass, I at least have a lot more peace in knowing that I tried my best to surround myself with love. And even though that mistake may have happened or that person and I may have fallen out, I'm still surrounded by love. I think it's when there are a lot of question marks around you where it's easy for you to then feel like, okay, cool, if this falls, then maybe there's someone else. And, and I'm now at the point like, okay, cool, like a mistake is made. And also, I'd like to think everyone in my life is very accountable. So I don't think there's a case of me being like, hey, I did this, and this,
Yes.
and it made me feel this way, and someone is just gonna gaslight me and be blasé. Oh, what do you mean? Oh, no, like I think when you genuinely care for someone, even if you feel like you're not wrong, you always listen to them, right? And you always validate how it is that they feel, even if it wasn't your intention. Right. And then you can explain where it was that you were coming from. But at the end of the day, I made you feel this way. And that's what the problem is. So yeah, I think it's been a lot easier to forgive people because I feel a lot surer of them.
Yeah.
A lot more sure of them. And I feel safe.
That's amazing. You know, even when you speak about the intentionality of the people you keep around you, I'm getting this like word in my mind, like boundaries. Like you're very clear on what those look like, you know, even by saying, I know who my friends are and I'll say it, you know, and I know who isn't and stuff like that. In, you know, whatever season you may be going into, like how important is it to like maintain your boundaries? Because yes, it's like it's all well and good that you have it, but like actually standing by it, committing to those like boundaries that we're setting, that like just how important is it for you that you're constantly, I mean, you even speaking about earlier, like protecting that younger version of you and all the rest, and that comes with, you know, being cutthroat sometimes, you know, and being straight and not forgetting, even though you want to forgive and all the rest. So how important is it for you to like maintain boundaries?
Very, because I think any time in my life where I haven't had boundaries, I've allowed myself to slip back into old circles and cycles that I no longer wanted to be in. But moreover, I think each time I haven't had a boundary, I've betrayed myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's what always sits with me is the fact that you know what, you're never really aware of it, right?
Yeah.
Because also there's this idea that the people closest to you maybe don't have to adhere to your boundaries, right? So it's like, okay, cool.
Always shift the goalpost.
100%. So it's like, okay, this happened, but maybe I don't have to address it because like, I know it's this person. And like, oh, they said this, but this doesn't happen because, you know, we have this dynamic. And I think I've done that multiple times in my life. And then I realized that I've actually not implemented my boundaries because not because of how upset I am with them, but because of how upset I am with myself and how I'm aware that I had betrayed myself in this regard for a friend, for a situation when I should have never done that. So the way I look at boundaries more than anything, it's about not betraying me. It has actually nothing to do with anyone else, but it's about knowing that I know what works for me, I know what doesn't, and that I trust myself enough to be able to communicate that adequately and politely enough, you know, like I don't think things have to be like rah rah rah, we're fighting. But I think you can talk to people with love even whilst asserting yourself.
That's amazing. I want to go back to this thing of like, now we're pursuing a journey, right? And being met with no or not now or whatever it is, where it's just, this is where you thought we headed, the momentum is going, you got motion type of situation.
Yes.
Oh no. You know?
Oh no.
And life does what life does and stuff like that. How do you, again, back to the topic, remain committed to the season and to the purpose that you're being driven towards, where it just feels like the doors are not opening, like when it feels like God is not listening, prayers aren't being answered, oh my Lord, you know, what's up with that? You know, have you experienced that?
That's where I am right now. 100%. You know, I think even earlier you said something along the lines of, you know, your breakthrough is coming, but you've even told yourself that your breakthrough is not coming in this season, it has to be the next one. That's me. I've been there are things that I have been praying on. There are things that I've been waiting on. I don't know if you've gotten to the point also where you pray about something each and every day, like we are flying.
Like, God, you know what I'm about
to
ask
you.
You
know what I'm about to put forward to you. Yeah, literally. And I don't know. Honestly, I think each day has been very different. There are days where I feel defeated. There are days where I feel like he doesn't listen to me. He is not hearing me, and I want to.
He just doesn't want.
Oh, he doesn't want, and that's also such a scary thought because you're like, you don't want to do that. Like, woo, you know. But I think in maturing with your walk with God, you also understand that if he doesn't want something for you, it's because he has better, or there's just a reason as to why that thing is a no. And I've had to learn to wait well in that in the waiting season, Zama, there's a reason he hasn't delivered me to these things. And those reasons may be me. those reasons.
Unpack that for me. Sorry, what does that mean?
It means that I'm not ready for them. It means
Sure.
that there's still a work that he needs to do within me. It means that there's a work he needs to do within my family. It means that there are things that he sees within me that may not be ready to receive whatever it is that I am praying for and asking for. And that's also incredibly tough. Like, I've never cried the way I've been crying. I've been yee-hee-heeing my whole life.
The tears
2025
this year has claimed from me.
It's crazy. It's literally crazy. Like, even just sometimes showing up into the space and recording, it is a battle for me at this point, because I'm now at the point where I'm like, what is the point and purpose of sharing my story and sharing what it is that I've gone through if I feel like I don't get anything from it, outside of the fact that people relate with me, and I think
sure.
that's very healing. But there are other very real things I'm
Yeah.
looking for and hoping for that I'm not
Absolutely.
getting. So why keep pouring more of myself out? And I think one of the things that that has helped me in my walk with him is maturing and realizing that it's not about my feelings, but it's about what his word says about him. So he is faithful. He is good. He is merciful. He does hear my prayers, even when I feel like he's not. And it's having to remind myself of that in those moments, that like he is who he is. And I think also when we go through things, there's this idea that God changes because it's me, right? So it's like, oh, because I'm praying for this, you don't want to listen and you don't want to do this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a terrible outlook to have, because he is exactly the same. He doesn't change for you. Who are
Yeah.
you in the hindsight of things, you know? Who are you because of what it is that you're feeling? So I'm sitting on the word. That's it.
Yeah, that's what's keeping you.
I should have started with that.
It's
That's-
keeping on the word.
It's,
Yes.
it's keeping on the words. It's knowing that my feelings are not facts. That's it. And just meditating on the facts each and every day of who he says he is, that he's faithful. He's the Lord that split the Red Sea, child. He's the Lord that fed people, 5,000 people with the bread of loaves and small fish. You know what I'm saying? Like, he did all of those things. And if I say I believe in him, I also have to believe in him when I don't see the things that I want. Oh, that's actually the question he hit me with in the beginning of the year. It's like, are you a follower of me because of what it is that I can do, or do you follow me for me? I said, oh. Was I silent or silenced?
Ooh.
I said,
Oh, you got questions.
Yeah. Literally. Since you went to school, you got your degree.
Hey. Insane.
Yeah. Literally.
So even with this faith, right? What if your reality just isn't reflecting that, right? Because I know we speak forever about like, don't compare, like, yada, yada.
Yes.
In practice, it's
Yeah.
so hard not to.
Absolutely.
When there's this thing you know you're meant to receive, or this blessing you're awaiting, or breakthrough and all the rest. And you're seeing it happen for other people, right? And of course, you were happy to clap for people. It's not even about that necessarily. But it's just like, what if your faith isn't mirroring your life right now? You know, like, it's like, yeah, I'm trying to be steadfast, but like,
Yes.
you look around and it's just
Damn. When is that gonna happen for me?
Yeah. And I think that's something I sometimes struggle with, you know, like I feel like I get it. There's no use comparing. Like, you know, we're all in different state. I get it. We all get it. We've heard it, you know. But why does it seem easier for other people? You know, sometimes that's what I feel, but I'm like, why does it feel like it's a battle and a challenge for me to get something? But for some reason, it feels a lot simpler
For other people.
drug dealers to be rich and stuff. And
Yeah.
live the
I
life.
get that. Yeah. There's something I put on my WhatsApp status like beginning of the year-ish, and it reads something along the lines of the reason it's taking longer for you is because you're not stealing, you're not conniving, you're not scamming, you're not. And I was like, guys, making an honest living is not easy.
It's not for the weak.
It's not for the weak.
No.
But Zama, I want to throw that question back at you. What makes you think that it's easy for those people?
Yeah, because when you get your blessing, they look at you and think, oh, it's so easy for Gugu. She just
Can I tell you that they can hear us cry and scream like this on this podcast episode, Zama, but let your blessing find you. And they'll be like, guys, Zama arrived yesterday.
What's happening?
I personally only seen 2 podcast episodes from this girl, and now all of a sudden she's sitting on this blessing. Who does she think she is? That's it. That's it. It's our nature to forget. It is our nature to assume. It is our nature to naturally think that things are easier for other people. Even the drug dealer, don't get me wrong, I'm not condoning it, but I don't know what his daily struggles are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, homie is dodging being shot, dodging the popo all the time. That's a a different ballgame.
Yeah.
But I think that's the one thing that keeps me grounded is that it's not easy for other people. And even when I feel like it is, I don't know what they've had to do in order to obtain that blessing. And I don't know who that blessing is from. And I don't know if that blessing is a lesson. I know nothing. That's always my thing. For me, I will clap because it's you must know how to clap for people.
There was something I saw online the other day where this guy was just saying that you're comparing where God is like trying to place you, where the devil is placing them. And I was
Does it make sense? You're comparing your promised land to a test. That's what you're doing. But again, because digital age, right? Social media, we're constantly seeing things. It's hard because it's the very same thing you're praying for. Exactly, to a T. But you don't know the circumstances under which it was given.
Yeah.
I know nothing. Guys, that's my favorite thing to say all the time. When people, I say, I know nothing.
Sure.
Like, you got a car, good for you. You got a house, good for you. You are married, good for you. Your family's thriving, good for you. Genuinely. My portion and the only thing I know God wants for me to do is to clap. There's nothing else. I don't want to think too hard about how people do things because I think when you do that, you're also looking for ways to discredit them unknowingly.
Wow.
Right? It's like, oh, but how?
Yeah.
Sway?
Yeah. I'm even thinking about that other day when I guess Kim Kardashian posted that she graduated and all the comments were like, oh, when are you going to get your real degree? Like, no one's happy.
No one's happy for her.
Yeah.
No one's happy for her, right? And also some people, I think, were saying something along the lines of like, oh, it's taken her this long. Oh, but, and I was like, guys, just clap and move on. And if you don't want to clap, mine's the post. It's literally that easy. So yeah, for me, I think Dennis said something in an episode we shot, and he said that not only does God have something for you, but he has something that's tailor-made for you. And it fits like a glove. And that's what I'm waiting for, Zama. I don't want someone else's blessings. I do not want what someone else has because it is for them. Be it a lesson, be it for a reason, be it for a season, God knows why. And he will know why as well when he blesses me. And I trust that when it finds me, I would have been well stewarded enough to know that like I can obtain it, I can hold it, I can grow it, and I can bless others with it.
That's amazing. Being blessed to be a blessing, right? And
such a big thing for me, for sure. Yeah.
Oh man, and how are you feeling right now in your season and where you're finding yourself? You know, are you I know you briefly mentioned like like knocking on the door, waiting, you know. But yeah, like how is it feeling for you right now? Just being met, I guess, with this feeling of no. And are you coping? Are you all right?
No. No. I think I've also been in a season of waiting because he's trying to get me to commit to my routine again. And I'm learning the power of showing up in spite of what it is that I feel. So, for instance, he's given me this platform. I have to come and record a podcast episode, regardless of what I'm going through or what I may or may not have, right? He's made the provision for me to be able to use the studio. He's made the provision for it to be edited, I have a platform which it can go out on. So I'm having to focus a lot more on the things that I have, even though I know I want more. And I see it, right? And I see the power in that as well, because whenever I am delivered to the things that I have been praying for, I'll be a lot more grateful for them. I thought I was going to be grateful, but trust me, when they come now,
oh, you know what it took.
Gizo color. So yeah, like I see the work, and I think that's what brings me not peace but comforting, because I can see that something else is being done in the wait.
Sure.
And I think it's only really, honestly, I only got to this conclusion 2 months ago. Before that, January, February, March.
Talk to me.
Vibes.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what the lesson is. I got to a point that in my prayers, as much as I was asking for things, and also, I mean, I'm not going to say exactly what it is that I'm asking for, but I don't want people to think I'm asking for, I don't know, an LV bag. I'm not like the things I'm asking for, guys, are so crucial and critical, and they will help not me, but my family, and outside of my family, my extended family, and outside, like, I'm praying for things that I'm like, Lord, it only makes sense in my mind. I'm like, it only makes sense that you do these things because you know that we've been crying, we've been struggling in this way. So like, show up. Show up.
You're fully aware.
Yeah. So I got to a point in my prayers where I was like, okay, cool. I've been praying for this and it's not coming. What is it that I'm missing?
Sure.
there's something that I'm overlooking here that you're trying to teach me and show me that I'm not aware of. And then I think at the beginning of April, I started to be aware of the fact that he's bringing me back into routine. He's bringing me back into simplicity. My friend and I were having a conversation just yesterday about the fact that when we think about the word gluttony, we think about, and she used the exact same example. She's like, we think about the fact that Kim Kardashian has 20 Birkins, right? And that's how you think that gluttony appears. But you can be gluttonous with your 4,000 Rand salary.
Oh.
You can not be using the things that he's giving you properly. With the small that you have, you can still be prioritizing other things. With the small that you have, you can be doing a lot more than what you can afford to be doing.
Mismanaging your own.
So it's really been a crazy season of just, he's made me sit back. Like I'm lying down at this point.
Not even sitting.
I'm not even sitting.
Get
girl.
on your back.
Get on your back, girl.
Yeah.
I'm on my back,
Yeah.
and I'm grateful for the journey. I see the growth and I'm happy for it. And I think each day I just look for something to be grateful and happy about.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes that's being able to take a walk. Sometimes it's being able to have a conversation like this with someone and relate.
Sure.
It's the small things. And I think it will always be the small things that get us through.
And you gotta hold on to that, so that, as you said, when the big things come, we don't want to mismanage that. Like you can't even manage this little thing. Yeah.
Yes.
And you're like, yeah, I get that. And being able to appreciate the small things, I feel like what I've told myself is like eventually it all adds up into like a big life,
Yes.
And just
Oh, that's beautiful. I'm gonna steal that. I need all of the confirmation, reaffirmation I can get. Yes.
But yeah, I really appreciate having you on. It's been such an offering, honestly, just hearing your world and the way your brain thinks and absorbs things, I feel so grateful. I know that people listening are going to feel so grateful to just like receive this. So yeah, thank you for making the time, for just sharing, I'm just thank you.
Of course, anytime. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
it's a
man.
privilege for myself to be here in front of your audience. And to many more, anytime.
Yeah, too many more.
Literally.
Please tell everybody where they can find you, are we not being perceived?
No. I mean, no, girl, it's about the bag at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So on TikTok, it's Gugulethu Nyatsumba. Instagram, Gugulethu Nyatsumba. I'm not on X.
Thank God.
On Threads, Gugulethu Nyatsumba. YouTube, it is Uncomfortable Growth, and my podcast is After School with your girl sis GU on all streaming sites. Yeah.
Oh, thank you again. As always, I'm sending my love. Goodbye.
What in the 20s is going
In the
on
20s,
here?
the 20s,
What
baby.
in the 20s? What in the 20s is going here for my 20s, baby? This is the 20s.